Hi, I want to say a little bit about simplicity. When things look really hard and really overwhelming and really complicated, we're thinking about them. Now, we're always thinking, I know, we're always thinking about whatever's in front of us. But when we feel that, what do I do? Tell me what to do. How do I do it? I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do it. When we're caught up in that, as we all are at times, when we feel like we're faced with something that we can't see our way out of, we're in our heads. That's just what that means. We're caught up in a lot of thought about how and what and where and why me and all of that stuff. And I want you to remember, this is just a reminder video to remind you that when we're in that place, and there's nothing wrong with that place, we're all there, that's showing us that we're caught up in our heads. That from a mental, conceptual, linear, black and white, very limited place, we're trying to figure out something that may not be figure outable from our heads. Simplicity is being there, if you're there, and seeing, oh, okay, I'm really caught up in my head with this right now. Let me come back to this moment. Let me get out of my head. My head's not going to figure this one out. Let me let that just settle down. All this stuff swirling around. Let me let that settle down. And then from a different place, not from our heads, from a different place, let me just look toward the truth, or let me feel what makes sense, or just see what there is to do, feel toward what there is to do next. It's simple. It's simpler. It's smaller. It's more peaceful. It has a very different feel to it. It doesn't have that mental busyness feel to it. And honestly, that is how we get through things. I recently did a webinar, which was awesome, for a bunch of people who with binge eating issues. And it was interesting because we presented about the brain side of binge eating. We presented about the mind side of binge eating, that our thoughts are just chatter, and that's what gets us into trouble, that we don't need to listen to, or definitely don't want to trust or believe our thoughts because they're not true. They're honestly not true. So we don't want to get all caught up in that. And the progression of the information, I think, got more simple and also broader and kind of higher level as we went through. And we noticed in the questions, amazing, wise, smart people on this webinar, the questions were really tactical, as they are, because these are people suffering and wanting to see a way out. And what our mind is used to and what society is used to giving us is a lot of complicated paths. Well, what do I do in this situation? How do I eat on this day? How do I think, or how should I feel, or what should I tell myself, or all of those kinds of questions. And us teachers on this webinar, we're kind of saying, you don't need to look there. Look bigger. It's not about how, when, where, why, tell me what to do. It's about taking a deep breath and seeing a bigger, simpler truth about things. Your habit is you up here. Your confusion, your complexity that you experience is you up here. Anything that feels tough, that has us stuck in life, that has us feeling really bad or really limited, is us in our head. That is your mind doing that. That is not life doing that. Birds don't experience that. Life is simple to them. They're not in their heads complicating things. And human beings are no different than birds, except that we have really smart brains, and we do get caught up in our heads complicating things. So I know this, even what I'm sharing right now, can be a tough message to hear sometimes, because when we're in our heads, we just can't see. It's hard to see simplicity, and it's hard to get. We want to figure it out from that place. We want to see the path. We want to know, no, tell me how my habit's going to end. Tell me how this problem is going to get solved. But when you're in that place, and I need this message, which is why I'm sharing it right now, and trust me, I need this message in my life too. Everyone does. When we're in that place where we're like, it's not working, and tell me, and how, and what's it going to look like, and when's it going to happen, that's always a sign to just let your mind settle down. And with some sleep, with some space, with whatever it is that you need, your mind settles down, and you do start to see clearly. But I want you to know that that will happen, because if we don't know that'll happen, I never knew that would happen for years and years and years. So I would get a little mental quiet and peace, and then I'd just let my mind rev right back up and go back to it. My mind would settle down. I'd say, okay, well, maybe I could figure this out. I'll handle it. I'd start to get that clarity, but I didn't know what that was. So my mind would right away say, oh yeah, but you still don't know how you're going to solve your problem. Let me know. I know what's going to happen, and it'd get right back there. So I want you to know, when your mind settles down, you're in a good place. You will see things. That is all you need. And when your mind's all up here, which it always is when we're in that frantic, I don't know place, and how, and tell me why, and what's the path, and what are the tips, and all of that, we're just not really in a place to see it. Life is really simple. On this webinar I was talking about, we shared really, really simple truths. If people deeply heard those truths, they'd all be free. And it's not their fault, but we're not always in a place to hear it, because we have a lot going on in our minds. So I want you to just take this as a little nudge, a little reminder. And again, I am as well. I'm going to watch this one back, because I need it in my life, because I've been up in my head about some stuff recently of how and when, and it's taken too long. And all that's showing us is that we're just caught in thought. And when our thinking settles down, we just come back to the moment, and you just do what's right in front of you. And life is so much easier that way. And that's not always easy to do. But I hope this video reminder helps you. Thanks for listening.